you've read in the newsletter, if you do get my newsletters, I wrote a lot about the gate of shock. And this gate is one of the keys that will unlock our global direction in 2027. I was shocked almost 2 weeks ago with what happened in Israel at the dancing celebration that was happening in the desert. I mean, I was really shocked. And I remembered how I felt when I first heard about um, the Ukraine, that same sense of shock. And then also with the coronavirus, the pandemic that affected the whole globe, everyone, we were almost all in lockdown, the shock of that. And they're truly shocks. This is a key that will unlock one of the themes, the global direction after 2027. And the theme right now is Gate 42, which is the closing of the cycle. For those of you who don't get my newsletter, if you email me, I can send it to you. So you've got more detail, because I can't remember everything that I wrote. It takes time to put it all together so that it makes sense for somebody else because I understand it inside of me, but to get the words out to explain it. So the closing of this cycle, the global direction right now is closing of the cycle. And I see we're closing this cycle through shock. And then shock is what will carry us through the next over 400 years. And it's for our human evolution. It doesn't mean we're always going to be shocked. It's about, shock is part of the mystical channel of leaping into the unknown. It's an individual channel and we're moving into very individual times. So this shock, I mean, as I was writing what I was writing today, I was like, wow, what other shocks are in store for us? Because it's obvious that this is what's happening now on our planet, huh? The old is finishing. The old collective structures, the cross of planning is going down. That's all collective and tribal, you know, communities, religions, families, even. The old way of how the family was this unit. Um, I read on the internet these stories that people write in and they want other people's advice. And, they talk about how their parents want them to come back and live with them, to support them and take care of them. And that's what I grew up with. I mean, I'm very grateful that I had my inner authority when my father, got to that stage where the old me would have had him come and live with me. And living as myself, I had and found another way to take care of him. But what I was really surprised with was all of the advice people were getting goes totally against that. It's like, no, you have your life to live. You didn't ask to, for that brother or that sister who needs help, or, you didn't ask for, you don't owe your parents that just because they're your parents, all of this, so this family structure, it's like I read these things and I say, wow, yeah, it's very different, very different from how so many um, at least my generation was brought up, and cultures around the world are brought up that same way, where you take care of family no matter what. You sacrifice yourself for your family, and this is all. It's not like it's disappearing. There'll always be community, there'll always be religions, there'll always be family, but it's not a theme for our planet. It's leaving. It's no longer needed for our human evolution. And the same with the collective. I mean, that's corporations, that's governments, that's rescue, that's police, that's army, that's the UN, that's all these big collective structures. And the collective, it doesn't care about the individual, no matter how much the different parties will say they do care. They really don't. Um, it's the collective wants to um, have everyone follow a certain way, huh? Um, and it doesn't care about the individual. We're moving into a very unique individual time. It's beautiful. I feel human design. Wow, the perfection of its arrival. For those of us who have been lucky to come in contact with this amazing knowledge, to yeah, to be able to become stable in ourselves, to be able to be aware of what's correct or not for us, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what anybody else is saying. I mean, this is a precious gift. I can't even imagine how I would be right. I don't even know if I'd be alive, actually, without this. And very, very interesting. I've been in this, I won't even say my experiment anymore because it's just living me. But in the beginning, it definitely was an experiment because I was not living how I live now. So it was an experiment to see, and I remember Ross saying, don't believe me, you go see, you find out for yourself if it works or not, if it's true or not. And and the longer I'm uh, in this, in me, but it's also beyond me, huh? This I read what's happening in the news. I see the photos. I hear people talking. All of this, and I've I've seen that, and I think I've shared this once before, or it could have been in a session with someone I don't even know anymore where I've said something, but I know I've said it somewhere. That like now, I'm with you. So my personality, my consciousness is engaged, huh? This Marianne. But when I'm alone with myself, there's not that there. There's almost like nothing, huh? There's there's this just being. And in that, it's I can say that it's like I'm not human in that space. This personality, because the body, of course, is human, but that's my vehicle. you know Marianne sits in the back seat of this vehicle, but inside that personality is this consciousness that's not human. It's just come into human form, huh? And that consciousness just sees, or just is, even. It doesn't really even see, it's just present. So when I experience something like what happened um, in Israel, um, there's this human who feels deeply for what's happening, as for everywhere in the world, huh? I mean, while that was happening, 2,000 people died in Afghanistan. I mean, it's like there's a lot going on in the world. Nature and humans are can be killers. I mean, that's just the way it is. But there's this other part of that I call this the consciousness that's not human, that just has nothing. It's just there. It's just seeing. It's just aware of what's going on. It's hard to put into words. And it can seem very cold. And it's not, I mean, even the personality of me, you know, I'm not involved in the drama. I it's, it's, and I don't mean, the drama I'm talking about is the stories that people's minds make up about everything, not just the atrocities happening around the world, but their life, their family, their partner, their kids, their boss, their employees. There's always all these stories, and the mind makes it up. And these stories are what create the misery and the drama, and it feeds. And those who agree with it help feed it. And those who don't agree with it, then you hate that person. I mean, it's just this, the division, huh? That's what I see so much, is that uh, the closer we get to 2027, it feels like the more divisive humans have become. You know, I can see it in the States. I see it in all the countries, but I can see it a lot in the States between the two political parties. I mean, really far and far and further and further and further away. And all the judgments on that and all the back and forth. And Ryu would say, and I love this term, enlightened selfishness. And I feel that it's where we're headed. You know, humanity's movement is towards the individual, towards the integration of the individual, not community, not organizations. We needed all that for our human evolution, but it's not needed now. What's needed for human evolution is integration within. Hmm? And so that to me is the key. It's the key for all of us, no matter what's happening in our lives. And I'm not saying that, if you're in the middle of some horror, physical horror, that's happening all around you, physically happening, not just in the mind, but physically happening, that isn't painful. I mean, it's painful to be human. Pain is involved. There's physical suffering on many levels. I mean, a lot of people, are suffering on this planet, physically suffering. I only can do what's correct for me to do. It's like sharing right now. This is correct for me. You know, I don't have any sides. I don't think this one is right and this one is wrong. It's not I'm not for or against. It's like, yeah, this is going to sound terrible. I don't care. Not like that. I care for the individual, each individual, not for countries, but the individuals in the countries, because we're never going to experience peace, not peace on the planet, never. Not with the mind running the show. It's impossible. That's just not going to happen. I'm a little touched by what I'm experiencing inside. No, it's just not going to happen, guys. I mean, I was someone who spent my whole life just wanting peace and harmony on the planet. Mm-mm. No, it's the mind's run amok, and the mind is right or wrong, good or bad, and there's never peace with the mind. There can't be because it's always this or that. But there's peace within, huh? That's the only peace that there is. That's what I experience. It's this inside of me, you know, no matter what's happening out here. And I tell you, I have no idea what future shocks are in store. I just don't. I don't know. We don't know. Or I don't know. I don't know. You may know. I don't know. I mean, I never expected a pandemic, you know, I never expected the wars that are breaking out to be happening. Yet I can meet everything as myself and make a decision for this, for me, not for anyone else. I mean, I think that's one of the places I'm very cautious with my work in human design, because people will ask me, what should I do? I said, I don't know. I don't know what you should do. I'm not you. You have a place inside that knows. Maybe I can help you get to that place. Maybe. I don't know. Only you can know what's correct or not for you. Nobody else. And this is not something that's wanted so much, huh? First, the mind doesn't want it because the mind always wants to tell us what we should do or shouldn't do. And it wants to tell everyone else what they should or shouldn't do. But then, you know, the experts want you to listen to them, and the, you know, the governments and the religions and everyone, all these bodies of organizations and families, huh? And communities, all of this, they want people to follow. They don't want someone to stand in themselves. And the only way is we are alone. I mean, we're really alone. I mean, I spent my whole life before human design wanting to meet someone, you know, before I met my husband, but you know, wanting to meet someone who would sit in my back seat with me. Well, it's not going to happen. Nobody can sit back there. I'm alone in my back seat. I came in alone. I'm going to leave alone. That's just the way it is. And all these vehicles and people in my life, and they pull up next to me and we have a coffee together or we travel together or whatever. They're there for as long as they're there. But basically, I'm alone. And this is true for all of us too. to really let us just relax in who we are and to be able to become stable in who we are so that we can survive all that's happening in the world and what's coming. I have no idea. We're not even at the 2027 yet. My sense is that this period, these 7 years, are, I have no idea why I'm saying this. I have nothing that Roz said that I know of. I have no way of knowing, but it almost feels like these 7 years are difficult because the old is falling apart and the new is starting. And it's like this mm, really volatile place. Now, I don't know if it will get easier in 2027. I really don't know, but it just feels like this time, since 2020 when the pandemic started, have been intense. There's all this stuff going on. I mean, I don't even list it all anymore. It's just like, whoa. And you see in the headlines now, what is happening in the world? The world's falling apart, all of this. And it's I'm so grateful I have this understanding about 2027. Anyway, we live in quite some times. Yes. And while I still have energy for working with people, it's all I care about is to, um, yeah, do whatever I can to help people get stable in themselves because it's not easy and it's not going to get easy. I have a feeling it's going to become more difficult as we move closer and closer to 2027. I don't want to, it's not doom and gloom, okay? The world's not coming to an end. I saw a cartoon. How they have these guys on the street, the world's coming to an end. Beware, the world's coming to an end. This one had a sign, beware, the world's not coming to an end. The world's not ending, something like that. We have to deal with this. And I mean, this we're here for a ride. Consciousness, this thing that's not human, is inside us. It's there, it's in everyone. The mind swirling around, so not many people get a chance to um, just be, just be present because the mind is totally, um, how to say, well, it's got their full attention, I guess. I guess that's a good way to say it. But it is an amazing ride in spite of all that's going on in the world. I'm on my way to Ibiza. I mean, I had no idea when I got on the ship to come back to Europe that I was going to go back to the US. It's really, when you read in the newsletter, I'll try to write something. I don't know how many words I can put in the description for this video, but to write something about the 51. But it's about adapting, how to deal with shock, adapting and standing alone. And so I can see that. I can see that with, whoops, we're going here. Whoops, no, we're going here. Oh, we're going there. It's like just this continual adapting, yet standing alone while everyone else is freaked out. And this is just one key for 2027. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I have a whole talk I did years ago on 2027. It's available um, in my web store if you want more information about 2027. But it helps the mind to understand, you know. But the only thing that truly helps us to move through is to live who we are. I mean, really. So that's it, and it's simple, but as Ra would say, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy. We're adults, so however long we've been alive, that's how long the conditioning that's moved us. And the conditioning's not just in the mind, it's in our bodies too. So it's a process. It's a process to go through. But man, it's worth it. I mean, I love who I am. I love it. I love being me. I love being alone with myself. I love just doing nothing. I mean, it's not about what I do, it's about just being. And this is precious. And I know I wouldn't have gotten here without my experiment. No, no, I know that. I tried everything else. I mean, really, I looked under every rock. Where is it? Where is it? I was longing. I didn't know I was longing for me. I thought it was something out there. Anyway, well, I really enjoyed, yeah, being with you. And until next time, huh? Take care. Bye.